Hey guys, welcome to my brand new online course all about rope dart. If you're not familiar with rope dart, it's basically a long rope with a weight attached at the end. It was originally a martial arts weapon where that weight was a sharp piece of metal, and lately people have been experimenting with it in the dance community, the flow arts community, the fire spinning community. It can also be an incredible fitness tool. It's great for cardio, great as a movement meditation. It's basically my favorite thing on this planet, so let's explore it fully in this course. If you already took my first rope dart course, this is kind of like the second edition. It's better shot, way better produced. There's a lot of really cool new stuff in it. It's a masterclass, so it's going to take you through all of the basics, show you some awesome new moves, and finish up by teaching some of my favorite choreography that I like to perform at big events and festivals. By the end of this course, you're going to be able to perform with a rope dart and look awesome doing it. Okay, without further ado, let's start off this course with the rope dart buyer's guide. Everything I've listed is linked in the notes or the description or wherever you're watching this video. So the very first thing we need to know is how long we want our rope to be. The standard length is going to be the length between our wingspan plus the length between the top of our shoulder and the ground. This is the best way to measure because it's specific to each individual. I measure this length every single time I spin rope dart because if it's even slightly off, I'm going to notice it. It's going to affect my flow. Some people like to go a little bit longer, and that's great for them. I love that. I don't recommend going much shorter, though, because it's going to have a negative effect on us being able to do some of the more complicated wraps. Next, I just want to say, if you don't want to invest in a rope dart just yet, you're kind of just experimenting with it, you're not sure, you just want to try it out for the first time, you can make one out of like a cotton rope and a beanbag or maybe a stuffed animal. I don't know if you guys ever saw my first ever YouTube video, but it talks a little bit about how to do that. So long ago. It's definitely going to feel a little bit janky, but you can try out a lot of basic moves that way and see if you really like it. In terms of weight, the standard weight is kind of between 7 and 11 ounces. That's very based on personal preference. I like to spin 11 ounces. I am a size queen. I really enjoy that extra momentum. That's just me. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got as a flow artist is to experiment with different weights, figure out what works best for you. Lighter weight is going to help train precision, and heavier weight is going to help with strength and momentum. So for me, I like spinning that big lotus dart, so I need to be training with a heavier weight so I can actually handle something like that. But if you're a martial artist, sometimes you might want to do a lighter weight because you're really focused on that precision. Okay, so now we know our rope dart length, we know the weight ranges. Here are some of the best rope darts currently on the market. Number 1, we have the Silk Rope Dart by Rope Dart Academy. This is an excellent practice rope dart for any level rope dartist. It's probably the most popular non-fire rope dart on the market. So you can see that there's this adjustable leash, and you adjust it by threading it through this hole just like this. Then you coil it around your wrist, and just make sure to tighten it only after you figure out how many loops to put around your wrist. So, measure your rope length, then loop it, then tighten. So you can see the head right here is made of this beanbag material, and you can select which weight you want on the RDA website. Okay, next up we have the Cobra Dart, also by Rope Dart Academy. So this dart's super similar to the Silk Dart, it just has a more narrow head. So it's smaller, but you can still pack the same amount of weight as the Silk Dart, which means it might hurt extra good if you hit yourself, so be careful. Next up, we have the Mayhem Dart, which is a collaboration between myself and Rope Dart Academy. Super new, just came out this year. This was originally a custom design that I begged Frank to help me make. It has a thicker leash, which feels really nice to grab and really nice on my skin. This dart was somewhat inspired by the aesthetic of Tom Fazio's sash. I actually got to try Tom Fazio's sash, which was super, super epic, and I found out it's not technically a rope dart. It has 2 pockets for weights on the end, whereas the Mayhem dart has that adjustable loop, which is the same as the other Rope Dart Academy designs. I love being able to see the rope on my body. I love being able to feel the rope on my body. I think this rope dart is the best of all worlds between the Silk Dart, the Cobra Dart, and the sash. It looks awesome in videos. It feels awesome on my skin. If you're super into techie rope dart, I have heard that the thick leash might get in the way of some super fast finger motions, but again, to each their own. Okay, the last Rope Dart Academy dart on the non-fire rope dart list is the Dragon Tooth Rope Dart. Rope Dart Academy released a limited amount of these bad boys, partially because they're only meant to be purchased by advanced rope dartists. The reason this dart is cool is because it's one of the closest things we have to a traditional rope dart. You really do not want to hit yourself in the face with this thing. You could knock some teeth out for sure. It is not a practice dart. Next, we have the Ice Crushing Dart. So these rope darts are the kind instructor Bensi uses to crush his ice in his wild TikTok videos. I've never tried one, but I would be interested to see how they fly. I have mad respect for anyone who's down to swing one of these around. They definitely do not look fun to hit yourself with. I don't recommend them as practice darts because they're small, but they can be super, super heavy. Their weight range goes from 8 all the way up to 15 ounces. They definitely have a more traditional look. Okay, on to fire rope darts. The first fire rope dart I ever purchased was the Dagger by Dark Monk. It's great for beginners because it's a manageable amount of fire and it's medium weight, so martial arts rope dartists are probably going to like the weight distribution better because it's similar to traditional rope dart. These are also good if you like to spin fast. Next, we have the Monkey Fist by Dark Monk. This is sort of the most basic fire rope dart you can purchase. It's super durable and has the longest burn time, so it's pretty economical. I don't love the look as much because it doesn't produce a huge fireball, but it does hold up super well if you're the kind of person who really likes to beat your dart up. Now we have the Lotus by Dark Monk, which is by far my favorite rope dart on this planet. It creates this huge fire trail. It's pretty heavy, but I actually really like the feeling of that momentum. I feel like it makes my shots way cleaner because I have all of that extra weight to work with. I like to use the 6-petal Lotus, but it did take a little bit of getting used to, so if you're new, you might want to try a 4-petal or a 5-petal first, because it is an alarming amount of fire when you try it out for the first time. The Lotuses are more delicate because they have these pointy things coming out of them, so they do come apart faster, but they're super, super worth it if you like that big, beautiful fireball they create. Another great option for people who love big fire is the Shuriken Dart by Bonobo Flow, which just came out this year. It also has a layered design like the Lotus, so it's going to have that big giant flame. I got to test out the 7-blade version, and that weighs about 11 ounces without fuel, which is generally my preferred weight. I was really excited to test this new dart out, and I'm glad that there's another awesome big fire dart option on the market. Okay, in terms of fire rope, here are the most popular ones. The first 3 are by Dark Monk, and then you can find Technora all over the place. I like the round dragon rope by Dark Monk best. It has a decent heat resistance, but the rope closest to the fire is made of Technora, which is super, super heat resistant, and the texture of this rope is by far my favorite. Then they have the flat rope, which is made of the same material, it's just flat instead of round. This one's great for people who are used to using the silk darts by Rope Dart Academy. Next, we have the space rope, which is super, super heat resistant. It has the highest break strength, so it's going to be the most durable. It also has a great texture. It's thinner than the other ropes, which feels a little bit different. I think I might have liked this rope best if I wasn't already so used to the dragon rope, but I just prefer the dragon rope. It's just what I'm used to. And last, there's the standard Technora, which most companies will sell. Technora is super, super heat resistant, which is great. I have noticed the texture can kind of get a little bit rough for me over time, but I also haven't really used it that often, so I can't comment too much about it. It's definitely thicker than the other ropes, which can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your preference. Okay, last I'm going to briefly go over the light up options that we have for rope darts. I will say I'm not super satisfied with any of them, and that's because I have a very specific vision for what I'm looking for, and I'm going to talk about that. That being said, let's go over the light up options currently on the market. The Vision LED Dart by Flow Toys. So in terms of durability and overall design, this dart is probably the most popular option. My biggest issue with most of the LED rope darts on the market is that you can't really see the rope if it's dark out. You can only see the dart head. It's pretty bright. It's got some great settings. It's a great, great option for sure. Next, we have the Blacklight Activated Dart by Rope Dart Academy. This dart is super cool and it's gotten a lot of great feedback from the community. Just to clarify, this dart is only going to look like it's lit up when it's under a black light, which is a very specific type of lighting. Obviously, the durability of these darts is going to be great. They don't have any electronics in it, so nothing can really be broken. It doesn't need batteries. It doesn't need to be charged. I love this concept, and I would love to try out that dart next time I attend a blacklight party. Next, we have the Spin Optics LED Dart by Lanternsmith. So in a way, this design is the closest thing on the market to the design that I've been looking for because the dart and the rope both light up. I've performed with this dart. I've gotten some great compliments. The main feedback that I've heard from the community is that the leash is super plastic and feels kind of weird to spin with. It can catch on your skin sometimes if you're doing any kind of crazy wraps. I'm also looking for a rope that's going to really light up a show, and this light isn't quite as bright as I'm hoping for. But it is the only LED dart that I know of that has a light up leash, so I have to give it some credit. And that leads me to my pitch to find somebody who can help me make an LED rope dart with an awesome LED rope. I've seen some super cool LED jump ropes lately, and obviously there's some really awesome smart poi heads, so I really think that something can be engineered that looks bright and performance worthy. I just haven't figured it out yet. Make sure to check the links if this has been created by the time you watch this video, of course. If not, I'm still figuring it out, so email me if you have any ideas or thoughts. Okay, the absolute last rope dart on this entire list comes in its own category, and that is the Smoke Dart by Dark Monk. I love spinning these darts. They look so cool in videos. They're a little bit on the heavier side, which is totally fine by me, as you can probably guess by now. And the way they work is that you buy these smoke bombs separately. You pop them into this enclosure. Then when you're ready to spin, you just yank on this string. The smoke bombs that I've used in the past usually last about a minute on average. So I usually like using these darts for videos or specific outdoor shows. The smoke does not smell great. I do not recommend doing this indoors. Okay, that is my list of noteworthy rope darts currently on the market. If you want to learn more about the history of rope dart and rope dart in general, check out Frank Hatzis's book on traditional and modern rope dart. It talks about the history, it talks about technique, it goes super deep into anything you could possibly want to know about rope dart, so check it out for sure. Okay guys, that was the first chapter of my online course. Thank you so much for watching. Everything I talked about is linked in the description or the notes of this video, depending on where you're watching it. In the next chapter, we're going to learn the basic fundamentals of rope dart. So I'll direct you to all the most important moves to start learning, the right order to learn them in, and then we're going to get into some more advanced stuff during the rest of the course. Again, this course is built for any level rope dartist. You're going to get a lot out of this course no matter where you're at in your journey. If you're interested in buying the course, it's linked in the description or it's on my website, FLOWMAYHEM.com. Feel free to email me if you have any questions about it. And if you already bought it, welcome. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.